What's up everybody, Joseph Rothschild, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the larger goings-on of Yu-Gi-Oh!, a couple of days ago Konami finally released the ban list that we had all been clamoring for ever since we decided we're sick of sitting under domain. We got the hits to Monarch and Pendulums that we need right now, we got the hits to Cosmo that we probably deserved, and we got hits to BA that even Commissioner Gordon would have been disappointed in. Truthfully, putting Beatrice to 1 probably doesn't do a whole lot other than force people onto the PK build of the deck and free up extra deck space for trains. If you want to check out my BA Trains video, look at the playlist. It's pretty interesting, and I think now that Beatrice is not the play every turn, it's possible that there may be some doors in Burning Abyss's future. But for today, I have a special fishy surprise cooked up for you. Let's jump into deck edit and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is a deck I'm lovingly calling COLECANTH OTK. My friend who brewed up this monstrosity before I improved upon it called it Coconut OTK, but I'm pretty sure that's because he can't read. You can call it whatever you want. I think another fucking unfair deck that plays the Frog engine is probably a pretty suitable name for it. This list was brewed up under the assumption that Konami would at some point take the OCG's lead and set Golden Sarcophagus 2-3, and if that happened, we wanted to be the first people there to break it. So the point of this deck is to open one of two things. Either swap Frog and one other Frog and Ancient Deepsea King Colecanth, or Gold Sarcophagus and Different Dimension Reincarnation. Now this allows you to do one of two things. Either you can discard a Frog to get Swap Frog back, send Ronin-Toad, Special Summon Ronin-Toad, and Normal Summon Super Ancient Deepsea King Colecanth, or you can Golden Sarcophagus Colecanth away and then bring him back with DDR. So once you have Colecanth on your side of the field, you can discard a card to special summon as many fish as you want. And what you want is 2 Royal Swamp Eel, 1 4-star fish monster, and these could be anything. We're just playing Abasturge and Remora because they were what we could immediately think of. I'm sure there's better options. And 1 Oystermeister. Then you're going to want to synchro the Swamp Eel and the Oystermeister into either Gungnir of the Dragon Ice Barrier if you're going to make Trish, or Scrap Archfiend if you're going to make Mistworm. So after you've done that, you get the Oystermeister token, you sync the other Swamp Eel, the token, and the other 4-star into either Trish if you've made Gungnir, or Mistworm if you've made Scrap Archfiend. The reason you have to get specifically one of those 2 pods is because you need to do exactly 8,000 points of damage, and you need a 27, a 25, and Super Ancient Deepsea King Colecanth's 28 in order to do that 8,000. So if they have like 3 cards you want to get rid of, make sure to Mistworm. If they have less than that, or if you have cards to discard for Gungnir, you can get that and Trish instead. So that's the entire deck. The rest of the cards are just meant to draw us cards. We got Moray of Greeds, we got Hand Destruction, pretty terrible card, but alright when you're sending things like Ronin-Toad, and we have Threatening Roar to just sit with 5 cards in our hand, set 1, and pass. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happens if you go first? Well, in the unfortunate event that you are forced to go first, we also have a game plan that effectively locks our opponent out of the game. You get Super Ancient Deepsea King Colecanth like you would normally, then you get 4 4-star creatures. It's recommended not to get the Swamp Eels in case you're able to set up for an OTK later in the game. Then you make 2 Bahamut Shark, and then go into 2 Treatoad. And then 2 Treatoad is usually enough to prevent your opponents from winning. If you accidentally have too many Swamp Eels in hand and can't synchro enough stuff, we're also playing 2 Utopia, which go into Utopia the Lightning, which go into Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger. And 2 Thunder Chargers and 1 Super Ancient Deepsea King Colecanth is also exactly lethal. So that's the entire deck. Let's jump into Unranked and see how it works. So because I want to show you a cool and fun deck in action, something that a lot of people haven't played with before, and sort of a new brew, we are of course playing against Perform Pals Game 1, you know, classic 10-minute testing. Thankfully, if you looked at the new list, Perform Pals sure lost a lot, so I don't really know what this guy is planning on doing. Unfortunately, he has drawn Pendulum Wizards, so he may still be able to pretend he is the Perform Pals from a couple of days ago. We've opened a pretty okay hand. If our Hand Destruction finds a DDR are, we are in business, and if our hand destruction finds a frog and a coelacanth, we are similarly in business. So he's going to go first. He's playing King Bear, which already shows you that Perform Pals is not in a great place. He's going to Pendulum Summon out the Wizard, sack these two nonsense cards in order to get Skullcrabat Joker, set Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and then end his turn with a whole bunch of cards in his hand. This is way less explosive than I remember Pepe being, but we can thank Konami for that one. We're going to fire off a hand destruction almost immediately. We draw into a Royal Swamp Eel, which is the last thing we want to see. We discard it away, and look at that, we have drawn a Frog and a Super Agent Deepsea Colecanth. So we're going to discard the Frog to special summon Swap Frog. We're going to get Ronin Totem, special summon Ronin Totem, and here is the Coconut Man himself, ready to use his effect. So we get a Swamp Eel, an Abasturge, an Oystermeister, and another Swamp Eel. We're going to make a Scrap Archfiend because I want to go into Mistworm. We go into Mistworm, and I can just imagine my opponent's real physical depression that he must be feeling at the hands of Super Ancient Deepsea King Coelacanth as we OTK him on turn 1. So here's game 2. We've opened Gold Sarcophagus plus Moray of Greed. Drawing 3 cards should get us pretty close to Different Dimension Reincarnation, and I'm actually pretty happy about that. If you look, we have a DDR right on top of our deck. Our opponent is playing Buster Blader, which I don't like to see because that means we're not going into our extra deck. So he's going to add 10 million cards to his hand, Cards of Consonancing away the card that he added, but thankfully he decides to send this card for Cards of Consonance and not equip it to Buster Blader, so I can still make things occur. We're going to lead off with a Moray of Greed, and we have the Frog and another Frog in our hand now, so things are kind of looking up. He chains Maxi, and I'm like, yeah, draw whatever you want, I don't care. We Ronin Totem, we're going to make Deepsea King Coelacanth, we're going to summon a whole bunch of guys. Here we go. Draw as many cards as you want. We're making Mistworm. And the last card he draws as we special summon Trish is Battle Fader. Who in the world plays Battle Fader? So we're going to banish a bunch of cards, conveniently missing Battle Fader, and there it is. I mean, what do we even do to that? He just drew 9 cards off of Maxi. There's no way back into this game. I don't understand this guy's deck. I'm going to look and be... yeah, he's playing at least 2. He's playing 2 Battle Fader, and he found one of them off of a Maxi that drew 3 cards. I mean, this is the end of the game now. He switches all our guys to defense mode. This guy says if your guys are in defense mode, they can't activate their effects. That's just the end of the game for us. What a disgusting Battle Fader land that we have found ourselves in. So after being completely cucked by Battle Fader, we are now bricking. This is God telling us that we need to get off of this deck. Could not have made himself any clearer. Thankfully, he has, in his infinite wisdom, allowed us to play against 42 card Skull Servant, so maybe we have a way into this game. You'll see pretty quickly that this is about the caliber of play you can expect. We draw Moray of Greed. I'm like, please just find me a damn golden sarcophagus so we can win this game. But of course we don't. We draw in all these Swamp Eels, which you really don't want to see after you've played Moray of Greed. We are a couple frogs off, so we're just going to normal summon Abasturge and get in with the big beats. My idea is we can go into a rank 4 and then just like play Make Treatoad the game. That seems okay. So we do that and attack. He's going to flip Mirror Force. We're going to use our Treatoad effect in order to get that Mirror Force for ourselves. Unfortunately, Bahamut Shark can't attack the same turn that he's used his effect, so now we can't destroy this potent threat, Shinrai Blacksmith. He's playing Card Trooper. I mean, this is just Skull Servants at its best. Slow, grindy, not particularly powerful. I wish this deck was cheaper because I would love to build it. We, once again, are just summoning 4 stars and thinking, let's just like make more Treatoads. We're way out of this game as far as making Coelacanth occur. Here I decide not to go into a rank 4 because I'm like, maybe I can just normal summon Coelacanth, right? I have a Waboku. It's not like he's going to be able to do anything. Here comes a King of the Skull Servants, but we'll just Waboku it. Then on his turn, he's going to flip up the ever-elusive threat Gravity Bind, and let's fire off this Coelacanth. Wham, 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 wham. Making Gungnir because we have a million cards in our hand. Making Trish because it's funny. Oh, no, we don't even make Trish. Wait, why don't we make Trish? Oh, no! We found all 3 swamp eels, so we have to make Bahamut Shark. It doesn't matter. It's still enough for game. And that is how we have fumbled our way into a victory. So we're back with the deck. The first thing I'm going to do is let's go to Monster. We're going to go to Fish right here. Type in 4. We'll take these guys out. And let's put in Metabo Shark. And let's put in Double Fin Shark. Alright, so already we've made a giant improvement over the previous deck, mostly because these cards don't have restrictions on what you can summon. You can't actually make Utopia with Xyz Remora, and Abasturge did hot nothing in this list. This, at least if you're on the terrible backup plan, can put your swap eels back in your deck, you know? I mean, I don't really know what else I could possibly want. So the deck did exactly what we expected it to do. It was incredibly fragile, not particularly consistent. You draw a lot of cards, but sometimes even drawing a lot of cards doesn't exactly get you where you need to be, especially when one of those cards you could draw is multiple copies of Royal Swamp Eel. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. The OTK is really fun. It sucks that we have to play Upstart Goblin. That kind of invalidates it, but it's still really cool to be able to kill your opponent through monsters and back row. However, they have to be doing something pretty slow that allows their monsters to be targeted for us to even do that. We fold to any Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning really screws us up. We really have to play this awful card, Hand Destruction, which discards cards from our hand, which makes it harder to use Gungnir and Colecanth's effect, and also allows our opponent to draw into things like Battle Fader. And we also can't consistently get things like Golden Sarcophagus and DDR into our hand. The backup plan of making Bahamut Sharks and making Treatoads is cool, but probably not as powerful as killing your opponent in one turn like every meta deck attempts to every day of their life. So, if you want my thoughts on this deck, I really think that you should try it out and see how many enemies you can make, and then see how many sideboarded games you win, because I bet the answer is somewhere between 0 and also 0. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed watching Fishborg Blaster Frog's first turn kill in 2016. I hope you enjoyed watching Super Ancient Deepsea King Coconut Gun firing in spurts, and most of all, I hope you just enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give me a like, a comment, or a subscribe. It really helps me out, and if you want to see a certain deck or strategy played in the next episode, let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best. Otherwise, I'll play whatever I'm feeling like. See you Monday.